Hey! My name is Jesus Castelló, and in this video I want to show you the Ruby programming basics that you need to know to get started. The first thing you will need to do is to download Ruby if you haven't yet. And to download Ruby is very easy. Just go to this page and you select your way to download depending on your operating system. So if you are on Windows, you are going to want to use this Ruby installer. And you go here, click download, and get this version that's bolded. And it has a little arrow. This is the recommended version. So you want to click on that and install it. And then you will have Ruby in your Windows machine. If you are on Linux or Mac, then you might already have Ruby installed. Some versions already come with Ruby installed. And if it's not already installed, you can install it using something like RVM, which stands for Ruby Version Manager. And also there are other ways you can install, as you can see here in this installing Ruby page. You can install using your package system. In Ubuntu you have this tool for installing things. Or if you are on Arch Linux, you can use Pacman. There are different ways to install. Just pick one and get Ruby installed in your computer. Once you have done this, you will want to open a terminal. So to open a terminal, you go to your menu. And if you are on Linux or Mac, you want to find this terminal emulator. Then just open it and you get this black window. And if you are on Windows, you want to open cmd.exe. So you type this in your menu and then press enter or click on the icon that we show here. It looks like this one, similar to that. And that we open another window like this. So that's cmd.exe for Windows users. So why do we need this window? This window is where you run commands for the operating system, and this is where you run your Ruby code as well. So I'm going to maximize this window. And to check if you already have Ruby installed correctly, you type Ruby dash or minus V, like this, Ruby minus V, and you press enter, and this gives you the version of Ruby that you have installed. In my case, I have Ruby 2.5, which is the latest version of Ruby. You have a slightly older version, like 2.4, that works too. Now, how do you get started writing Ruby code? You need this thing called IRB. So you just type IRB inside this window, inside the terminal. So you type IRB and you press enter, and you see it says IRB main and then these numbers, right? And you can press enter and then it gives you the same thing, but the number keeps increasing. What is this? This is a Ruby interpreter. This is where you can type Ruby code and see the output, the results of that code, what that code is doing, right? And get started with something very simple. You can just type some numbers. For example, you can do 5. Of course, 5, the result of that is just 5. But then we can do some math. We can do 4 plus 5, for example. You get 9, right? You can do 5 times 5. You get 25. So that's just basic arithmetic. But doing this, you can get used to typing things inside IRB. Now, one of the most basic concepts that you need to understand about Ruby programming is that of variables. What's a variable? A variable looks like this. For example, number equals 5. This gives you 5 because that's the value. But this number thing, that's what we call a variable. It's a name for something. It's a label for something. In this case, we're saying number is the same or number equals 5. So when I type number, we get 5, right? And we can type number times number. And that's the same as saying 5 times 5, because number is equal to 5. So that's what a variable is. Use a label for some value in Ruby. And it's useful because then you can know this is the name for something. It could be like an age equals 20, for example. Then you know that age equals 20. And then you can do something like number times age. And Ruby knows what the value for these things are because you tell it what they are, right? You said, hey, Ruby, number equals 5. I want this name, which is nothing special. It's just a label. It's like if I tell you, bring me an apple or bring me an orange. You know what these things are, right? Because they are just labels for the actual thing, for the actual object. So when I say orange, the word orange is not an orange itself, right? But you know what I mean. Same thing in here. When I say number equals 5, number itself, the word number is not 5, but Ruby knows what we mean when we say number after we define it like this. So that's what variables are. So if you do something, some kind of calculation, and you want to save the value, we can do total equals that. And now we know what the total of this operation is, and we can refer back to it as many times as we want. That's the benefit, that's the use of variables. So that's one of the very basics of Ruby programming. You can use IRB to type your Ruby code and see the results. You can do basic arithmetic and mathematical operations, and you can use variables to label and give names to things. And as a result of that, you can also save the results of operations like this. Another of the Ruby programming basics that you need to know is strings. What is a string? A string is just some characters, like hello. This is a string. And notice that this is different from a variable because it has these quotation marks. And it has to be quotation marks in both sides or you will get an error. That's how Ruby knows, because programming is very precise, very exact. You need to be specific when you do things. So this is a string. What can you do with a string? Well, a string is just data, and we can give it some name. For example, we can do greeting equals hello. I know when we write greeting, we get hello, right? Because, as we said, a variable is just a label. And now we can do things like access the first letter, the first character from this string, and we do it like that. So the first one starts at 0, and that gives us the first character. If you want the second character, we do 1. It takes some time to get used to this, so the first one being 0 instead of 1, but it's just a matter of repetition and practice. You will learn how to do that. So the next one will be 2, and so on. That's how you get access to the individual characters of the string. Now, strings also have something that we call methods, and methods are just commands for the string or other kinds of Ruby objects. So what are some commands, some methods that we can use with strings? For example, we can tell the string to print its size, to give us its size. So we can say greeting.size, and we get 5. Why 5? Because there are 5 characters. Then we can do things like uppercase. What this does is it takes the string hello, and it takes every character and it makes it uppercase. It makes it uppercase. And notice the syntax for calling a method is like this. You get whatever the thing is, the variable name or the string. It could be like this as well. And then you have a dot, and then you have the method name. You can also combine strings. So if you have the greeting, you can do greeting plus greeting. That gives you hello, hello, right? Because the string 2 times. You can do, if you want to put a space between them, you do something like this. There you go, you get hello space hello. And there is another way to do this that's called string interpolation. It's very useful, and it looks like this. You open a string with the quotation marks, then you put this, then inside you put the variable name, then you put the space, then this thing again, and as you can see, hello, hello. And the way this works, this is like a template. Ruby will take these things and we replace them by the value of this variable. Not that just the basics, of course. There are also more things that you need to learn, a lot more, like if statements. An if statement allows you to check if something is true or not. For example, we could check if the size of hello is greater than 3, for example. You can do if this is true, then you can print some value with puts. You can say yes, it is bigger than 3. And of course it works and it prints that because it's true, right? So that's an if statement. That's how you make decisions in your code. To continue learning, go to my site rubyguides.com. You will find a lot of tutorials in there. Watch more of my videos in this channel and subscribe to the channel so you can keep learning and improving your Ruby skills. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this introduction to Ruby programming basics. If you did, please give me a like so I know that you like this video. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.